listening to the Marketing Personalities Podcast, a podcast for growth-minded entrepreneurs that serves up valuable insight and interviews about aligning your marketing strategy with your personality type. Because here's the deal. You shouldn't have to feel fake and salesy in order to grow your business. And you no longer have to. Your marketing strategy can feel good to implement and it can work. You can attract the right clients and customers to your business and grow your profits, all while staying true to who you naturally are. So in the name of honest business growth, bring your unique talents, perspectives, and personality to the table. And join us on this week's podcast episode to discover marketing that feels good for you. Welcome back to another episode of the Marketing Personalities Podcast. I'm Brit Kolo, and I'm here today with Deirdre Andrews, founder of DefineMarketing.ca. Deirdre, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
Okay, so Deirdre and I are here to discuss paid traffic, specifically Google Ads, because Deirdre is an expert in this. All of her content online is so rich, and she's going to be able to help you with that. And this is going to be a great topic for you if you are an INTJ, INTP, ISTJ, or ISTP. Now, if you're not one of those four personality types, no worries, just tread lightly. Okay? I mean, that's what we're here for. We are not here to talk about all the marketing topics and make it seem like they're for everyone to go out and implement. Maybe this is for you, maybe it's not. If you're one of those four types that I just listed off, then 9 chances out of 10, you're going to totally dig this and you're going to feel so energized by this conversation. You're going to want to go get all the stuff from Deirdre and go put this stuff into play. And if you're not one of those four types, you might be like, I'm not sure. So just tread lightly. That's all I have to say about that. So before we dig into paid traffic and learning this stuff, we got to know who this girl is, right? So Deirdre, who are you? What's going on over in your world?
For starters, I have been working in digital marketing for about 15 years now. I've always known that I wanted to be in advertising. I just loved it in college. Had a lot of experience working with small businesses and big brands. So now what I'm doing, well, just to step back a bit, up until a year ago, I was working full-time with a full-service advertising agency. So lots of stuff with big brands, but I knew that it just wasn't really what I wanted to be doing and where I wanted to be. So now I am focused on teaching small business owners how to apply all of the strategies that I used to apply in this agency.
Nice. Okay, so what was it that pulled you away from the big agency model and being an employee to now doing this on your own?
Well, I really, really love working with small business owners. So when I was working in a big agency and, I was working with big brands like Porsche and Audi and Hard Rock, and I've done work for Microsoft and Adobe. And I felt like I just couldn't really enjoy myself working on these strategies because there was so much pressure to get results. There's so much pressure to adhere to all of the red tape that gets involved with big budgets and, big clients. And, I thought about the most satisfying campaigns that I've ever worked on have been for my own small family business. So my brother and his wife, they own a dance school and they've been dance school owners for about 10 years. And I did work for them full time for a while. And I just loved being involved with that. And it was a business that I felt really, really passionate about and I really wanted to help them. So I wanted to kind of get that feeling back and help other small business owners like my brother and his wife.
So cool. And when did you make that switch?
So I did several years working in software, and then around 2014, I took a break from that and I worked full-time for my brother and his wife at the dance school. I did that for 3 years, and then I kind of wanted some bigger challenges. So I did about 3 years with the full-service ad agency.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. And so then now you're off on your own, and that switch, it sounds like, because we talked about this before we hit record, that switch allowed you to make some pretty big life changes too. I mean, you moved continents, right?
Yes, I packed my bags, I sold my house, I packed my cats with me, and I moved across the ocean, and I am now in Glasgow, Scotland.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. I love to hear this has nothing to do with paid traffic. So, listeners, you know, we will get there, I promise. But I think it's inspiring, and it doesn't have to be everyone's story, but I think it is inspiring and interesting to see what really does become possible when we pay attention to what's feeling right and what's not feeling right, and we lean into the things that really are feeling good to us. And it sounds like that's what you did with your career moves, you know? Like it's like, this big agency thing not really working for me, and you decided to go off on your own, and that has afforded you to go on this cool Scotland adventure. And I just think that's so neat. And it definitely applies obviously to marketing that feels good, right? When we are able to identify the strategies, the things that feel good in our businesses and really lean into those, man, so much opens up. And I see it all the time. And I also get people like, I don't know if that's actually gonna help or work. And it's like, man, just give it a shot. Anyway, I'm gonna get off my high horse. And I'm curious, how do you work with your clients? Do you have only clients in your business? Do you offer other ways to work with you that might be like digital products? Tell us how you serve your people.
Yeah, so right now, the majority of my clients are actually my students. I call them my students because they take my courses. So right now, I have a Google Ads masterclass, and that's how I earn my living, but also how I'm able to focus on teaching and being there for my students rather than just doing the work for them. I want to empower them to learn how to do it themselves.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth with these digital marketing strategies that involve ads? It's like you never just set up one ad campaign and just allow it to work forever. It's a constant checking in, testing things, changing things, new ad creative, new this, new that. And so to be able to do that, I mean, sure, maybe like the initial setup could be done by someone, but if you don't, as the business owner, don't know a little bit about that, you're not going to be able to make it work long term. So I love that you are serving us in that way. So I'm curious to know, from your perspective, do you have like a unique angle that you put toward this paid traffic and Google ad education for us? Because I mean, Google Ads can show us how to do that, right? Like they have their education built into their program, and there are plenty of people out there saying that they can teach us how to do Google Ads. What's your unique angle to this?
Yes, so Google does have a Google Academy for ads if you just want to go and get your certification. And there are other courses on like Udemy, but I find that those are very focused on just the technical setup. And they're also kind of focused on just setting campaigns up in a silo. And what I mean by that is, not considering other factors in your business or how you might apply this to a big picture strategy. So, when people talk about getting Google Ads certified, I think, okay, that's great. But I think of it as more of just like reading the driver's handbook before you go and do your written exam. Just because you've read the handbook and you've passed the written exam, it doesn't mean you actually know how to drive a car. So I like to think of my course as more about teaching you how to actually drive the car. And something that I think is really, really important when teaching paid traffic is to bring big picture strategy into it. And I like to use a lot of examples of challenges that I've faced in my own life, in my own business, challenges that my brother and his wife faced when they were starting up their own businesses, challenges that I've seen my clients face when I was working in an ad agency. These are all things that I've learned from, and I like to bring those examples into what I'm teaching so people can think about, okay, how does this actually apply to my own business, and what do I need to think of when I'm setting up this aspect of a campaign?
That's so true. I mean, I know that between small courses and some YouTube videos, when you're looking at these digital, very technical strategies, you could get the technical how to, but to then take that technical how to and actually apply it to your own stuff and what's actually going on in your business, it's a whole other ballgame. So I like that you're setting that up for us. So when it comes to specifically Google Ads, what do we need to know? Like, what are some ground level things that we need to know about Google Ads so we can begin considering implementing those into our actual marketing strategy?
So, the thing that I really love about Google Ads, and the thing that I think makes it different from, let's say Facebook ads or Instagram ads, is that I guess you could say that the traffic is already somewhat warm. When you're running a Facebook ad campaign or an Instagram ad campaign, you can target people who you think are your ideal customer, meaning, they fit the right demographic, or they fit, the right location, they're interested in the right things. But that doesn't mean that these people actually have an immediate need or desire for what you're offering. But with Google, it's a little bit different because you're targeting people based on the keywords that they're searching. So these people already have a want or a need for your product or something similar, and they're out there looking for it. So it's a way to get your business in front of the people who already want what you have, and they want it now.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good point. I think a common misconception is that it's bringing you traffic, but it's cold traffic. Well, not really. They might be cold to your company. So there's a little bit of warming up to be done there, but it's not like they're completely cold. They put in a search term into their Google search box, something related to what you do. So they're not totally cold. That's good to remember. How do we know what keywords we could run Google Ads to? How do we know to do that?
Google does have some free tools out there. So they have a keyword research tool that's pretty good for getting some ideas. So what you can do is just paste in your website URL, or just, enter some words that you think are related to your business or your product. And, you run that, and it will give back to you a whole bunch of ideas and show you what the competition is like on those keywords and the search volume. So how many people per month are actually searching for those keywords. So I find that that's a really good place to start to get ideas. But I really encourage people to go one step further. Don't just use a single word. You want to use multiple words because, when you think about it, when you do a Google search, you don't just type in, like, let's say you're looking for a hairbrush. You don't just type in hairbrushes. You say, what's the best type of hairbrush for my kind of hair? Or, where can I find a hairbrush with vents in it for blow drying? You know what I mean? So you want to get specific and use those long tail keywords that actually show some form of intent. Where can I buy this? Where is the closest whatever near me?
Okay. And so there are tools out there to kind of get us down that direction. But then how would we go about identifying what those long tail keywords would be for our business?
So I'll give you an example actually from my brother's business. So as I mentioned, they own a dance school. So a really great way to separate their keywords is by the different types of dance that they offer. So they have ballet, they have jazz, they have hip hop, they have acrobatic dance. So think about what people want, what they're really searching for if they are looking for, a ballet class. It's, where can I find ballet lessons for my 3-year-old daughter, or hip hop classes for teenagers near me? So kind of think about the services or the products that you're providing in your business, break those down into, separate themed categories. And if you only have one product, that's okay too. But you break those down into the separate themes and then just kind of think about what people might actually look for if they were searching for that. And you know what? It's an ongoing thing. So even if you only start out with, 4 or 5 keywords, run those keywords, bid on them, see what happens. And what you can do in Google Ads is actually look in your search terms to see what people are typing in their Google search bar that's leading them to find your ad. And that can give you a ton of new ideas to build from.
Yeah, totally. You hit on something that I want to kind of underline. When we go into these paid traffic strategies, it's a lot of experimenting, right? Like you've kind of got to go into it with this scientist's mind and being willing to have a hypothesis around what keyword might perform well, which ones might also perform well, and then also be willing to be like, I was wrong there. I'm going to try something else. Am I right there?
Yeah, totally. I think that's one thing that it makes paid traffic kind of hard for people is when you're investing your own money into an online marketing campaign, it can be really, really scary. And a lot of the time, to ease those fears, we think, okay, I'll put this money in, but I need to get it back right away. So I'll keep putting money in as long as I start seeing sales come in. But, it's not a light switch that you can just turn on or a faucet that you can just turn on and all of a sudden customers start flooding through your door. It definitely takes time to experiment. So you need to give yourself 3 weeks to 30 days of just time to learn and time to see what's going on in the back end of your campaign, specifically in Google Ads. Like you said, you might have an idea for what kind of keyword might work and it doesn't, but at the same time, after those 30 days, you're going to have a lot of data that you can learn from. You can go in the back end and see what people are searching for. You can also, to that note, when you see what people are searching for, you can see, oh, crap, I didn't know that, this was going to show up. So, for example, with the dance studio, I could bid on the keyword ballet lessons, but these keywords are kind of more like suggestions. So Google will still show things that it thinks are relevant. So my ad for ballet lessons could still show up if somebody is searching for pole dancing lessons. And I don't want to show up for pole dancing lessons. So I can see that in the back end and add that as a negative keyword. I can choose the words that I don't want my ad to show up for. So it's definitely a lot of experimenting. It's time to learn and gather data, but over time your campaign is just getting it smarter and smarter. You're going to learn more, and eventually you don't need to worry about it so much. You can kind of just let it run on autopilot.
Mm-hmm. Well, and listeners, this is exactly why I recommend this episode and this strategy to specific personality types. If you noticed, I stuck to the personality types who are introverted thinkers, okay? Because this is a back end and pretty technical strategy, tactic to put into place. So for anyone who's an introvert and also a thinker rather than a feeler, those types of people are going to more naturally go into this with the experimenter's, scientist perspective and approach and be able to leave their feelings out of the day-to-day data and results that are coming in and be able to give a technical campaign like this a really decent shot without getting muddled in, I thought this was going to work and it's not, and I don't know what to do. And this inner dialogue that tends to happen with others. And I say that as one of those people whose inner dialogue can get into that data and kind of cloud the whole thing as I'm trying to do a more technical type of strategy. So that is exactly why I'm recommending this specifically to the INTJ, INTP, ISTJ, and ISTP. Okay. So good. Go into this knowing that you're going to have to experiment and giving it time to actually work. And I hear that from, I feel like anybody that talks about paid traffic, whether it's Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, they're constantly saying like, give it time to work, stop messing with things. And that is so hard
Yeah.
sometimes, but it's true. And I think that those types are better at doing that than some of the rest of us.
You know what? It's still hard for me as well. I mean, I still get the urge to play around with my own campaigns when I know I need to just like let it do its thing. So, as a business owner, any small business owner, you're going to feel some level of anxiety around it, but be patient, give it time, and at least know that nothing is set in stone. You can always learn from it and make adjustments if you need to.
Totally. 100%. So I'm curious, as we're identifying the keywords that we might want to run a Google ad for, is it enough to have a website and then just do Google ads? Or do we also need to be considering what content we're putting out onto that website to boost the relevancy, the effectiveness of Google ads? So basically bringing together our efforts in Google ads and search engine optimization to make our Google ads work really well. Or are these two separate, like totally two separate things?
I definitely recommend that people get their website on point before running any kind of paid traffic campaign. Now, what on point means is going to depend on your business. If you are a local business, you want to make sure that your website makes it easy for people to find you, that they know right away what you do and where you're located and how you can help them. If you're a blogger, you want to make sure that whatever keyword you're bidding on and ad you've got people clicking on is going to a really great article that is aligned with that keyword. Basically, you just really want to make sure that people have a good experience when they land on your website, because no matter how much research you do into keywords, no matter how much effort you put into your bidding strategy, no matter how well you write your ads, if people don't have a good experience when they reach your website, they're just going to bounce. Like they're going to leave your website without taking any other action, which means you just paid for a click that's not going to become a sale. So definitely take the time to put some thought and effort into the experience that your potential customer will have after they click your ad and land on your website.
Right. So, and then that very well segues into this next question of, traffic is great, but if you're not converting that traffic to a lead or a sale, not really that help. I mean, you could have a really low cost per click, but if those clicks aren't going anywhere past that, big deal. Like you're still not turning an ROI. So what kind of tips do you have for us to actually convert this paid traffic once they get to our websites?
So it does start with the Google Ads campaign. We talked a bit about doing keyword research, but you also want to make sure that you're using keyword match types. A minute ago, I mentioned that Google kind of looks at these keywords and takes them as a suggestion. So somebody, searching for pole dancing lessons could see my ad for ballet lessons. But when you use match types, you're kind of restricting that a little bit. So there are different types of match types. You can have a broad match modifier, you can have a phrase match, or an exact match. And, these just kind of, the thing that differentiates them is the level of control you have over what your ad is going to show up for. So if you're using a really good match type strategy, then you're going to make sure you're only getting clicks from people who are actually searching for what you have. And then on top of that, you want to be really clear in your ad copy about what you're offering and who it's for. You don't just want to talk about yourself and how great you are. You want to talk about how your product or service can help that person in that moment. So that way, they're clicking on the ad armed with information, and then they get to your website. You want to make sure that your website is then aligned with that keyword and that ad. So for example, an ad for ballet lessons is going to link to the ballet lessons page of my website. It's not going to, just go to a general dance classes page.
Yeah, you know what that brings up for me is as I'm looking at the keywords that I want to rank for and then also run Google Ads for, I recognize that a ton of people, I mean, the volume for the amount of people who search the keyword INFJ in a month is like astronomical. It's a huge audience of people. And if I'm not, if I don't know this stuff that you're explaining here, I might think, oh, well, like I have stuff for INFJs. So, and there's, I don't know, 800,000 people searching that a month. I want to tap into that 800,000 people. And so I'm going to run an ad for INFJ. But we got to remember anybody that's putting in INFJ, they're not necessarily looking for INFJ marketing strategies, right? Like probably a very small percentage of that total search volume is at all interested in marketing. And so it might look enticing to tap into that much larger search volume than someone who, the search volume for, let's say, like marketing for INFJ personality type or something like that. But at the end of the day, you still need, and this is marketing 101, right? You still need to be targeting this stuff to people who actually are looking for what you are offering. We don't need to appeal to everyone. We need to appeal to the people who can actually gain something from what we offer. So, that's just one example, but I like that your ability to convert your traffic really does start right within that Google campaign. It's getting super focused and niched into who you're showing this ad to. That's then going to increase your conversion rates down the road. What else can we do once they have clicked on the Google ad over to our website to help that conversion along?
So a lot of people think that when they run a paid traffic campaign, they get a click, they think that they should be able to get a sale right away. But, it really just doesn't work that way. Think about when was the last time you clicked on something and then made a purchase immediately after. It doesn't happen very often, right? You need time to think about it. You need time to absorb the information. Maybe you can't buy until you get paid, or maybe you want to do some more research. So what I really recommend to go along with your Google Ads campaign is to have a remarketing campaign. You want to be able to remind those people of who you are, what they were looking at, and give them some kind of incentive to come back because, we all get busy. Maybe I bookmarked your site, but I got busy with other things. And even though I was interested, I just forgot about it. So you can definitely help the conversion along through remarketing. And it doesn't just have to be on Google. You can remarket people through the display network. You can remarket to people through Facebook. You can remarket to them through Instagram. Whatever really you feel is going to work well for your service or your product. Don't be afraid to pair different traffic sources.
Mm-hmm. And that is going to take someone into a much more technical strategy, kind of not only getting people onto the website, but getting people to come back to the website after they've kind of checked some things out, weren't totally ready to buy, and then retargeting them. And those retargeting ads, in my experience and what I hear from so many people who run them, those are where the money's at because this is a much warmer audience because they've already been to your website. So that's really good. And I'm sure that you can help the listeners with that. So even if you're listening and you're like, yeah, I'm kind of running Google ads, how can I make them better? I know Deirdre is going to be able to help you with that through her education on her website, all of it. So you've given us a really great peek into what we're talking about when we're talking paid traffic, Google ads, where we start, what we kind of need to wrap our mind around to identify if this is the right thing for us and our business or not. And you've even given us the peek at, okay, like once you get your Google ads set up, imagine what you could do with retargeting, right? So I know for those introverted thinker types, that is just like so energizing and so exciting for them. They just want to get their hands in there and experiment and try things out, A/B test things and look at all the data, that just gears them up. So I'm so glad that you've been able to outline all of this for us? And then for the listener who's like, yes, I want to learn more about this. I want to start implementing, or I want to continue implementing and get smarter and smarter with my paid traffic strategy. Where can they go to find you online and find all of your education?
So I offer a free Google Ads cheat sheet. If you visit DefineMarketing.ca/cheat-sheet, you can download that. It's free. And I start out with just 8 simple basic strategies to keep in mind when you're setting up your first Google Ads campaign. Or even if you already have a Google Ads campaign running, these 8 strategies might give you something to think about to improve your campaign. So definitely check out the cheat sheet. And if you want to go a little bit deeper into that, you've already got your campaign running, but you're not really sure if it's working for you. You're not really sure how to optimize it. I do have a 1-hour workshop. It's $9. And in 60 minutes, I give you my top 4 strategies to absolutely crush your Google Ads campaign.
$9. You guys, you cannot argue with that. Okay. So, and I know that 1-hour workshop is at DefineMarketing.ca/special-offer. And of course, the cheat sheet, the 1-hour workshop, it's all linked in the show notes. So whatever you're listening in right now, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, whatever you're in, you can just click on the show notes and the links are right there. You don't even have to go to my website if you don't want to. I mean, you can, and you can find the links there as well, but they're right there in the show notes. Super easy to just go over, grab those things. And then if we have questions for you, where can we go? Should we email you? Should we go on Instagram? Where can we access you?
I'm usually on Facebook, so you can find my Facebook page. You can send me a direct message there. I do look at my DMs on Instagram. You can also email me, whatever you're most comfortable with. But yeah, I spend most of my time on Facebook.
Okay, cool. And your Facebook page is Define Marketing Blog. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Linked that in the show notes as well. You find her on Facebook. That's awesome. Okay, everybody, you heard her. Who is ready for Google Ads? I mean, this is not part of my best marketing strategy personally, but she did get me kind of excited about it. So I can just imagine for those of you who this is totally part of your best marketing strategy, you are like ready to go. So go check Deirdre out. Her website is DefineMarketing.ca. Go there to find the cheat sheet, the 1-hour workshop. And then if you have questions, you want to access her right away, she's on Facebook at Define Marketing Blog. And of course, to find a marketing strategy that feels good to you, visit marketingpersonalities.com. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Marketing Personalities Podcast. Now it's time to connect your marketing strategy to your personality type. Go to marketingpersonalities.com/MPP to download your marketing personality type full report. Use the code MPP at checkout to get $10 off. And that's a super special code for podcast listeners as a way to say thank you for being here. In your full report, you'll learn about your personality type, how it relates to the work you do, what your best marketing strategy includes so you can start implementing it right away, what your worst marketing strategy includes so you can avoid it, and so much more. Go to marketingpersonalities.com/MPP to get your full report and use the code MPP at checkout to receive $10 off your purchase. And one more thing before you skip on to the next podcast. Would you please share this episode with your entrepreneur friends who also need to feel good about their marketing strategies? Take a quick screenshot of your podcast app right now and share it out via text, Facebook, or my favorite, Instagram. Remember to tag me at Marketing Personalities in the photo so I can be sure to send you a huge high five and thank you for sharing the love. This podcast is edited and produced by the Podcast Engineers. They're pretty great, and you can find them at podcastengineers.com. That's all for now. Thanks as always for listening, and I'll catch you back here next week on the Marketing Personalities Podcast. Love ya. Bye.